Good day, YouTubers. Thanks for joining me. This is video 20 in my series of videos on Ontario Northland models in HO scale. And today we're taking a look at 40-foot boxcars by Truline Trains. Now, in our previous video, we had taken a look at Proto 1000 and before that Proto 2000 freight cars by Lifelike Canada. And when Lifelike down in the States was purchased by Walthers, Truline Trains was created in an effort to maintain availability of Canadian specific models. And these 40-foot box cars are one of the examples of what I think is a very, very good quality, very well detailed model. I can't say enough about these, and I've become somewhat fanatical about collecting them. They did multiple production runs across many railways, not just the Ontario Northland. And they offered 3 different paint styles for the Ontario Northland. And yes, multiple road numbers of each release. So there are a lot of these cars out there. I know that some of you out there are interested in specifically what road numbers and such were produced, and I'll get into that momentarily. But let's talk about these cars in a little more detail here first. So to my knowledge, Truline Trains is still the only manufacturer that has actually accurately modeled these 40-foot box cars, and some of their distinctive detailed features, specifically the end of the box car here. This is what we called an NSC Type 2 corrugated end, and it's quite distinctive there with the vertical lines running between the horizontal ribs. In addition to that, we've got the Youngstown 6-foot door, we've got the Murphy steel roof, and Apex steel running boards. So Truline Trains did their homework here. This is pretty precise. We'll take a look at some other models here shortly to point out how different these cars are in appearance as compared to the other models that are made available out there. But first, talking about some of the other details here. This is the Boxcar Red as delivered paint scheme with the Ontario's Development Road symbol in the oval there. And the Ontario Northland had nearly 1,000 of these cars in the 90,000 series. I know that some of you are specifically interested in what road numbers are offered, so quickly rattling these off here. We've got 90,005, 90,112, 90,118. On my backtrack here, I've got 90,120, 90,227, 90,275. Then we've got 90,315, 90,358, 90,823. And then I will wheel forward here. Another 2 cars, again in the classic brown paint scheme. But to take one off the track here and show you in a little more detail, these have a symbol on the car indicating that it's for newsprint service only. Newsprint A. And I've got 2 numbers here, 90,235 and 90,296. These are a slightly different shade of brown. I think just the color wasn't quite as exactly matched in that specific production run. But now moving on to the next paint scheme that was offered, and this is the Boxcar Teal. And most of Ontario Northland's fleet was repainted into this attractive teal paint scheme. It maintained the the numbering and the Ontario's Development Road symbol from the previous paint scheme. And a lot of these cars retained this paint job until the end of their life. I remember seeing boxcars down on the local siding in New Liskeard that were in this paint scheme, and that would have been in the 1990s. So again, same detailed features across these multiple production runs. They've all captured that accurate NSC Type 2 corrugated steel end and such. And now to try and quickly go through this number series here. Cars 9091 and 9527 are what I've peeled up in front of you here. The other cars produced are 90,557, 90,575, 90,678, 90,791, 90,855, 90,869, 90,921, 90,924, and just like the brown cars that I'd showed you a few moments ago here, they also produced a few cars that had that newsprint symbol on them, and 3 separate road numbers here: 90,267, 90,417, and 90,487. Now, I'll pause for a second here before moving on to the next box cars. I want to talk about other numbers that were produced for each of these paint schemes, and perhaps a little bit of confusion around that based off research that I've completed so far. So, in the brown paint scheme, I appear to be missing road number 90,000 even, 90,295, and 90,382. So I've got most of the cars that were produced, but the mystery here is some of the early Trueline ads indicate that these boxcars were being released as 4 road numbers in the 7000 series. And they've even got those road numbers listed: 7001, 7018, 7031, and 7045. I have never seen any evidence of those cars in the used market, and that number series would not have been correct as compared to actual road numbers for 40-foot boxcars for the Ontario Northland Railway. So maybe it was corrected before release. I really don't know what to say. Now, in the Jade car here, I believe the only road number that I'm missing, and here's another mystery again, is 90,576. Now, I do have a 90,575, and it appears that it might have just been a mislabeling issue, or perhaps the factory producing the wrong road number versus what was marketed. So I really don't know if road number 90,576 exists. If anyone out there does know and could advise me, that would be great. And again, that same early marketing information that I just mentioned with the 7000 series boxcars and the boxcar red or brown there, whatever you prefer to call it, they had identified 4 road numbers in the 9000 series: 9010, 9478, 9612, and 9632. Again, I have never seen any of these cars on the used market, and those road numbers don't make sense versus anything the Ontario Northland actually had. So I'm, again, assuming that that must have been an error, and that was maybe corrected before they were released. Now, moving on into the final paint scheme that most of these boxcars would have carried is this the progressive green. Now again, same cars, same details. Again, we've got some that have the newsprint A symbol identified for newsprint service and some that don't. So the card numbers that were produced here were 90,897, 90,029, 90,023, 90,511, 90,410, 90,242, and then 90,178. I believe there's only two cars here that I don't have, 90,155 and 90,410. So that does it in regards to me droning on regarding road numbers and such. And what we'll look at now is how these cars compared to other box cars that have been produced. I think it makes the most sense to compare to this car because most of the other releases have been in that paint scheme. So taking a look at this Athearn car now in comparison. You can notice slight discrepancies in scale. I would suggest that the 6-foot door on the Trueline Trains car is more accurately scaled than the door on the Athearn car below. But while the roof styles are similar, you can see the difference in the end treatments. So the Trueline cars is on the right with that NSC Type 2 corrugated end. And the Athearn Boxcar on the left has what was called a dreadnought end. And it seems that most 40-foot boxcar models out there have been produced with either this dreadnought end or alternatively with a Pullman standard boxcar end. So this is a car that we looked at in a previous video, a model power car, and this shows an end treatment that maybe not a great representation of, but it seems to be of a Pullman standard car, especially given that this has a Pullman standard style door. Now, what's recently come out to market are some of these nicely built Bowser 40-foot boxcars. 90,000 series. They've got the dreadnought ends again, so not correct in that regards. The other thing they got wrong here was the white doors. Ontario Northland did have white doors on some of their box cars, but that reflected express service, and those cars were renumbered into the 7400 series. So to my knowledge, none of these cars existed in the 90,000 series. So to that point, here is an Atlas 40-foot Ontario Northland boxcar in the Progressive. So what they got right here was the road number versus the door treatment. And unfortunately, though, we have the dreadnought end. So lacking accuracy in that regards. And Atlas also produced the jade green paint scheme. So again, they've got the symbol and the road number series and everything correct, but once again, we've got dreadnought ends. So at the end of the day, these Trueline Trains 40-foot boxcars are getting a little harder to find. But if you are trying to accurately model an Ontario Northland boxcar, this is your only option. So keep your eyes peeled for these. I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope to have another one up very soon. Thank you.